Welcome to Creating Success in the Mess, where we talk about just that, creating success in the mess of this thing we call life.
We're your hosts, Cory and Whitney, a husband and wife team that does life and business together.
In this podcast, we share our struggles and funny moments as we have journeyed growing our family, our faith, and businesses.
We share inspiration, motivation, and practical tips and tricks to help you build yourself and a life you love.
We invite you to join us every week on the podcast, and we can't wait to create success in the mess together. Today, we're going to talk about pressure. And I'm talking about the pressure that you feel kind of like, when you're in the kitchen and you put your food in this machine that's sitting there and you put the lid on it and all of this steam and everything starts building up like the pressure cooker. Only we're going to talk about it in relation to business.
So in my past, I've actually enjoyed pressure. I'm like, yes, a moment to be clutch. Put the pressure on. But the pressure we're talking about today is not the good kind of pressure. It's like the overwhelming, like paralyzing, can't really do anything kind of pressure.
Right. So you're right. You and I have always been a little different. You've always said I perform really well under pressure. And you've always performed really well under pressure. And you kind of like created this routine of wanting pressure to perform. Me, I don't perform under pressure. And it doesn't matter if it's like that crock pot, that pressure cooker where it's like all full of pressure, or just one of those little bitty steamers that you put on the kitchen, cabinet, and it just kind of steams a little. I don't perform under either. I'm not the steamer type, and I'm not the pressure cooker type. I don't like pressure at all. Sometimes pressure can be a good thing, and we have to all face it because, let's face it, sometimes the pressure is what makes us do things that are uncomfortable that we necessarily wouldn't have done.
Yeah, they make you. It's a shift.
Right.
Pressure that's shifting you into something. That's the good kind.
Yeah, but today let's talk about not the good kind. I mean, is it all a good kind in the end?
So right now in our life, we're in what we call the mess. So on this podcast show, we talk about creating success in the mess, and sometimes we talk about successes. Sometimes we talk about creating. Right now, it's a mess. That's what our life is right now. It's a mess. And at the time of recording this, we actually don't even really know what the success is going to look like. And more days we're discouraged than we feel encouraged.
Right. And you're right. Like, on the other side of it and on the back side of it, creating success in the mess. Well, success is variable, and it can vary by day or by time period in your life. And sometimes success looks like what you expect success to look like, like a win, like you hit the ball out of the park. Mm-hmm. And then sometimes success is just like, you know what? I got to the ballpark today. I didn't actually get to the game, and I didn't step up to the plate, and I definitely didn't hit anything, but I got to the ballpark. And that's okay. It's okay that success can be either way. Mm-hmm. But let's face it, when you're in a season like we're in right now, it's hard to remember to look for those successes that are just showing up to the ballpark kind of days.
Yeah. So it's like a measure of a pivot.
Right.
Like you kind of like have that dial like, okay, how much am I going to pivot today? Are we doing a full turnaround? Is it just a little bit? Hey, as long as you can measure some type of a pivot of progress, you're further than you were.
Right.
For us, the pivots are pretty small.
Right.
So just kind of give you all the context, we moved our family clear across the country from Florida all the way to southern Oklahoma. Like we're literally like right on the Texas line. Like we're like Texans and we're like Oklahomans at the same time, or Tex-Omans as they call it here. But we made this huge move because we felt led to, and we took the leap of faith and we did it. And it wasn't easy. And we were pulling our cargo all the way across country, and our transmission broke.
That's right.
It blew.
Right on the middle of the highway.
And we had high hopes. We were like, yeah, fix it, man. Fix that transmission. We're going to keep going. We don't want that car payment. Let's just keep, let's keep driving this used vehicle as long as we can until the wheels fall off. Well, The wheels haven't fallen off, but we're ready to kick the wheels off this thing.
That's right.
So we're dealing with a vehicle problem.
Right.
Still.
Yes, because not only did the the transmission blow up and we were like, fix it. The transmission blew up. We fixed it, and we picked it up from the shop, and we got 30 minutes down the road, and it blew up again. And then they fixed it. We
made it here. We made it here.
We managed to get where we were going before it decided it was going to go out again. And mind you, it's all under a warranty, so that's good. But nonetheless, it's turned into a huge dispute and an argument and a fight. And so the vehicle is just sitting right now.
Right. And one of our businesses, literally, it involves this vehicle. It's how we pick up our furniture. It's how we deliver. It's literally like the main piece that keeps the flow of one of our businesses. And we were opening a store. And we have no ability to go get the furniture to put into this store.
Right.
But hey, that's all right. Because we are plenty busy with 3 other businesses.
That's right.
So we're going to pivot to something else. While this one can't really do a whole lot.
I just can't, for us, like, we are those crazy, weird people that have too many businesses going on, in some people's opinion.
You got too many businesses. You got too many kids. You're trying to do too many things. Can y'all just focus on one singular thing? No, we can't. We're gonna.
We've never been that way. We've never been normal. We've never done things normal. We've never done things in a comprehensible way. And so, like, why would we start now? So you're right. We do have 3 other businesses that are demanding a lot of our time and attention, and that's good. That's great that it is. But I can't help but stop and, wonder, like, what if that was our only business,
Well,
because
the business that we currently down was kind of our bread and butter before we left.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was our main focus. It was our main, money maker and our biggest passion at in that season.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew we were pivoting. We knew that our passion was changing, and that, like, we were being called to mentor and help guide small business and people wanting to go into business and entrepreneurs. We knew that it was the season for that business of ours to really start taking off. And so I don't know why we didn't expect that the other one would decrease. I guess we just expected that they would both be like these massive powerhouses, and we had it designed in our mind how, everybody in our, like, our circle and our, like, our team, everybody was going to do this, that, and the other. And, like, it just, yeah.
I mean, I think everyone's just looking at each other like, so what are we doing?
Right.
What's the plan here?
Yeah.
So, like, our bread and butter business is kind of like, okay, that's on hold.
Right. It's moving, but it's moving at, like, instead of, a freight train going down the tracks, it's moving at, like, that train that goes a little bit and then it stops and it takes this long break? That's what it feels like.
Oh, yeah? I feel like it's like an anchored ship, and it's got a tugboat that doesn't have enough power to drag it.
Right. Well, so anyway, we have a space for it. It's got a retail space. It's gonna have a retail aspect.
No, we're paying for a space,
exactly.
And the business isn't making any money right now, and we're over here like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like, although the money is there to pay for it, but we're still looking at, we can't just go negative. We have to make something.
That's right.
To cover the cost of the rent.
We do business and we understand business, and there's nothing like going insane knowing that your business is on the down, the financial aspect of it doesn't look like it's doing that great right now, or it's not as high as it was, or it's, going negative in some capacity. That is like enough pressure to put you in that whole pressure cooker.
Yeah. And I think that's the one pressure is that.
Yes.
Is making it, like, do what it's always done. And so it gets us into the stage of, like, forcing it.
Yes.
And unfortunately, I don't necessarily think we're supposed to be forcing it. And I think we tried forcing enough, and guess what? The round peg's not going in the square hole.
That's right. So in this situation, the pressure is coming from so many different places, and it happens like this so often. And so I think let's kind of talk about different ways that pressure pops up in your business and in your small business owner life, so that we can kind of know and be able to identify where the pressure comes from, because it's not just external factors that can cause the pressure. Our truck, the vehicle being out of commission that moves these pieces of furniture. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's pressure in itself to figure out and solve that problem for that truck. But there's so many other ways of the ways that pressure can just like sneak in and infiltrate your mind and your thoughts and your attitude and your behaviors and your beliefs. So you have like the external pressures, like with things
you can't control necessarily,
right? Yeah,
things you didn't plan for, things you didn't expect,
right? Yes. And then there's external pressure with people. So there's other people around you or relying on you. Like sometimes you have like a staff. Sometimes you can have staff, mm-hmm. and you're the one in the back looking at the numbers, and you're like, I mean, I'm going negative, and I'm going to have to pay them their paycheck, and or they're pressuring you to make adjustments or changes in the business that just, like, quite frankly, feel uncomfortable and feel hard. Then you have family. You have friends. Like, don't work so much. Don't work so hard. Why are you always talking about business? That's pressure. Is your business actually going to make money this year? I mean, that's awful. Like, yeah. When somebody says, like, so what do you do with your day? Well, what I do with my day is I try to make this business make me money. Like, in this startup, in the first years or the first months or weeks or whatever, that pressure is a lot.
Right. So then some other pressures are internal. And I'm really bad about this.
Yes.
I create this on myself, which I do have control of this. So external things, I don't have control for those. Can't do anything about them. They're unexpected. But my choice of reaction and the things that I do necessarily can create more pressure or less for me. So for one of our businesses, we build a lot of websites, and we help people with business advice and how they can kind of do digital marketing and whatnot. And we kind of came to a small town. It's not kind of, it's a small town, but it's kind of a little bit old school. And there's a lot of people who need digital marketing. And kind of going out there, we're thinking like, oh, well, we're going to go out here in an old school fashion, and we're going to get stuff. So we have one business that is technically kind of, well, let's be honest, it's negative. It's costing more than it's making. And then we have another business that's online. It's doing fine. It's doing its thing. And then one of our businesses, we're trying to get clients, and I'm kind of doing the old school foot traffic, and I'm like, wow, this is not working. I'm getting like a lot of dead leads. Like, I know better than this. But thinking that, okay, it's a small town, it's old school methods, and we're figuring out, you know what? I haven't been internally putting so much pressure on myself just to get deals that maybe I'm not coming off as genuine as I used to be. Mm-hmm. Or maybe I'm not letting go and let God. And maybe try different methods that we've done in the past that have always kind of worked with us helping people. So those are internal pressures that we're putting on ourselves and trying to just force things to work a certain way. And guess what? They're not working.
Yeah, and sometimes we put internal pressure on ourselves to make things perfect or to make things like, exceptional. And we want to shoot for like A+ instead of being okay with a B. Nobody put us on this earth to be perfect and exceptional at everything all day long.
No.
We can be amazing some days, and we can be some days, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But some of us expect ourselves to be amazing and on an A+ level every day. Right. And then that pressure, that internal pressure that we're putting on ourselves, is just going to lead us straight into burnout.
Well, it doubles, because when you're not in a season of being able to produce A, but you expect A, all you're doing is setting yourself up for failure. Right. You're literally failing every single day, and you're telling yourself you're failing, which is just lowering your ability to actually have forward thinking.
Right.
Sometimes during a season, it's a D for diploma kind of season.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, you know what? Last time I checked, a D is a passing grade. It gets me credit.
That's right. It works. It's good.
Like,
sometimes making it to the ball field is good.
Yes.
Yes. And we need to remind ourselves that. We need to remind ourselves when we feel, it's kind of like we're walking down a field with a hazy fog all around us, and we're just like a spinning tornado. Sometimes some signs that, like, maybe you're in this place is when you're always frustrated.
Yeah.
You're always irritable. Nothing is turning out, and nothing is turning out good. And everybody is irritated around you.
Yeah.
And you're so confused. And you just want to run away, and you keep thinking about time and a clock and obsessing about, time or money. Those are all signs that you are walking in a fog down a road with spinning tornadoes.
Which is just like a completely bad vibe.
Awful.
I mean, if you were going to watch a camera back of yourself and people are like, oh, that's the you I remember. Like, oh, God.
Yeah,
there's a such better version of me than that.
It's like if you were watching like one of those really bad scary movies and you're like, don't open the door. Why would she open the door? You don't open the door. Like, if you could just step out of yourself and I think the first step is recognizing, okay, I'm doing all of these things which are signs that I'm feeling pressure. Pressure in some way. And then identify, like, where is the pressure coming from? What is the pressure for? Identify where the pressure is and what it is that you're, dealing with. And then, like, kind of pull yourself back, like you're watching one of those scary movies and think, what am I doing that is, if I was watching this as a movie, I would be like, just don't open the door,
Yeah.
And then remind yourself, if you pull yourself out of it and you look at it from that perspective of watching a movie, your vibe and your attitude and your mindset is gonna change. Yeah. And a lot of times, if we can just push the pause button on all the pressure around us and, identify it and then assess, okay, you know what? This is a really hard season. I really don't know how this is going to work out or when this is going to work out. But what I do know is I don't have to keep showing up to the ball field being irritated.
Yeah.
I don't have to keep showing up to the ball field feeling like I have to do perfect. I'm going to be okay with a C. I'm going to do this at a C, and everyone else is going to be fine with it, and so I'm going to be fine with it.
Yeah. I think you have to come to a sense of, like, you know what? I am not in control, and I'm going to be fine with that. It's like a reminder, because the pressure that comes from internal, it's all a control issue.
Right.
It's trying to make it work, trying to make things happen. Forcing things is all your own decision because you want to control the fix-it situation. You want to be the hero. And I think a lot of times what we have to do is, like you said, push the pause and realize, you know what? I get it. I'm not in control.
Right.
And I have to be comfortable not being in control.
Right.
So,
but what I am in control of is my attitude and how I'm going to view it.
Which is, maybe there's a lesson to be learned here. Maybe I'm in a position and in a season of growing and learning. And if I can let go of control and I can come outside of like myself and come out of that realm and kind of look outwardly and say, what am I missing? What am I not seeing that is supposed to be a teaching part that I'm going to be using as I go back up the ladder to an A?
Right. And then whenever you do that, whenever you push the pause button and you just come out of under the pressure, like, take the lid off the pressure cooker and just look around. Like, you don't even have to get out of the pressure cooker. Just take the lid off the pressure cooker.
Pop your head up.
Yeah.
Say, whoa.
And look around, and your whole mood and your vibe and everything is going to lighten, and it's going to improve. And then you're not going to actually be pushing so hard in all these wrong directions, and it's going to be easier to flow and allow with ease and positivity and, you know, all the good vibes and the connections. And, you know, if you're walking through a field with fog with all these tornadoes going on, what are the odds you're even going to see, you know, a blessing in front of you
or see the people running the shelter?
Right. I mean, the odds are that you're missing things because you're down in this foggy pressure cooker. Whereas, like, if you just remind yourself that if you can keep your attitude and your mindset at a higher vibration, like, you know, outside the pressure cooker, maybe your body's hanging down in the pressure cooker, but if you can keep your head up out of the pressure cooker, then things won't necessarily feel so hard and so heavy.
Well, the pressure, it really is, you're feeling it on yourself.
Right.
And so it's going to create all these physical things that are going to occur to your body. And so you do have to come out of yourself in a way.
Yeah.
Because unless you do that, you can never get to a calm state. And if you can never get to a calm state, you can never get rid of the fog. Right. You have to almost like hit the reset button and reprogram your brain and say, okay, we're going to update.
Right.
We're going to restart. And we're going to look at everything with a new lens. And you'll know when you're doing it because people are going to act differently around you.
Right.
Which is what's needed. So if you have a team around you, you want your team to work better with you, you might need the internal reset button on you.
Right.
Because no one's going to be productive if you're the leader.
Right.
And the leader has to have a reset. And everyone's human.
Yeah.
Just because you're a leader doesn't mean you can't have a moment of like feeling like you're out of control and you don't know what the heck to do.
Right.
Like we're all entitled to that.
Right. And, you know, like when you're in one of these seasons that is like heavy pressure, it's like an hourly battle. It's not a daily battle to remember, is my head up out of this pressure cooker? Am I keeping a positive perspective? Am I being mindful of the reality of it's okay? Am I aware of where I'm feeling the pressure right now in this moment? That can be like an hourly battle to remind yourself and do check-ins with, because honestly, it's hard. It's hard. And your business is going to depend on you. And the state that you're in is going to reflect on not only, like you said, your team, but your business. Maybe you don't have a team, but you know, it's you and your business. And if you are in this state of chaos, then that's going to reflect through your social media posts and, you know, your meetings with your clients and whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
And so it's imperative to remember to take these breaks, go for a walk, do meditation, put headphones in and listen to a song on the radio. Just do a mental check-in with yourself. Okay, I was fine. I was okay an hour ago, and now I'm a tornado out here in the field. What happened that sent me into this spiraling, you know, chaos mode?
It's like you're talking about taking a walk. So we didn't say this yet, and we're going to get to other podcast topics on this, but we've only mentioned 3 businesses, but we have a 4th one, and it's a fun adventure. So we have a family member that owns a company, has multiple locations, and we are running one of these locations. It's office supply. We've never sold office supply in our life. Anyways, it's a fun venture. It's like flipping a business kind of thing. And then like we're like so into this. Well, today, so a little bit of context, and we'll talk more about this. So make sure, hey, subscribe to this podcast because we've got some good stuff coming. Lots of great content. But today we had like someone called and they're like, hey, I need a case of paper. And I was like, where is it? And Whitney was like, oh, it's like 3 blocks down the street. We're like on a main street in like a, you know, in a town. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to get a dolly and walk it down there. She goes, you're not going to deliver it with a van? I'm like, no, I'm just going to walk the street with a box of paper. And it was so relaxing.
Right.
I mean, I was just like, I'm just pushing the button, waiting for the little hand, you know, the little hand to come up, walk across the street and just, all right, here we go. Just gonna walk. And you got people at the insurance agency and people at the boutique shops, and they're just waving their hand like, hey, there's the office supply guy. And the website guy and the furniture guy and also the art studio. It's just the guy who does everything around here. He's going to do donuts next. Watch. But I just wheeling a dolly of paper around. But what it did is the sunlight and the fresh air,
Mm-hmm.
it's automatically like a reset.
Right.
Because you can't be acting a fool in downtown walking some paper. You got to keep your cool. But it allows you just like, no, I am just a regular old person. Like walking around here with a box of paper, not giving a care in the world.
Right.
But you know what I'll tell you what it did. For a moment, I forgot I was an entrepreneur. I forgot I was a business owner, a father, a husband. I was just a being existing in a world
Right.
that is spinning
Right.
and just taking a walk.
Right.
And it just simplified things down to a point that it was like nothing bad has happened
Right.
because I took 5 minutes to walk some paper down the street.
Right. It was like pushing a pause button. But,
Right.
I mean, you weren't frozen.
Correct.
It was just a pause.
The fight and flight. I feel like I'm doing both all the time. It stopped.
Right.
And I felt like the computer system had a reset.
Well, in science, they would say it's because you were increasing your serotonin level.
Oh, yes.
And your serotonin is your happy chemical. And anytime that increases, then your unhappy chemical automatically goes down.
You know, I forget that you have all that psychology knowledge from your degree. So.
Well, you know, sometimes it's helpful, and then sometimes in your own life, you're like, wait a minute, I'm not using anything I know.
I thought serotonin was the lady at the gym that does the fitness classes. Sarah's tonin.
No.
No, that's not it? Oh, okay.
Serotonin, dopamine, like, no.
Don't even get me started on dopamine.
Okay, anyway, laughter also increases your
Right.
serotonin level. Outdoor exercise, eating healthy, listening to happy, upbeat music, meditation, all of those things are amazing pauses.
So if I'm not laughing
Right?
and I'm eating donuts all the time, terrible dieting, those are signs right there that you might need a reset button.
You might need some serotonin increase.
So earlier when you were saying, no, you got to kind of check yourself. Where are you at? Well, there you go. How are you eating?
Right.
When's the last time you've been outside to get some physical activity?
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time you laughed?
Right.
You know? Like, are you having more angry conversations with people or more happy conversations with people?
Right.
Are you yelling at your kids or are you just shaking your head like, oh, God, yeah, good luck?
Yeah. Just laughing at their shenanigans.
Sometimes that's all you
Yeah.
can do. You just laugh and go, I don't even know how to parent, discipline, or teach this one.
You know, in all honesty, while we're on this topic of pressure, like, some days I get home from running a business and my kids, I just laugh. And some days I'm like, I laugh and I feel the pressure that other people will be thinking like, oh, you should be like disciplining. You should be,
Well,
you know, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know what I do? I hit the pause button and I'm like, I'm showing up for sea level today.
I'll be honest, we homeschool our kids, so I don't know about the coming home and doing that. I do that all day long. I just kind of nod my head and go, uh-huh, yeah, oh, good luck.
Yeah. So, you know what? Hey, like, I love being, I was an honors student and I was like an A+. I was getting college credit in high school. I like to do things right and I like to do things good. But one thing that parenting has taught me is C is okay some days.
There's no AP class in parenting. It's, you know that class that they should have had in high school but they never had called survival?
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. It's like what's that that reality TV show and they put everyone on the island and kick them off?
I don't know.
I can't remember what it was. You get the idea. Parenting is like that show, but you can't ever get kicked off the island.
Oh, like Survivor.
Yeah, Survivor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But you can never get kicked off. No matter how bad or how great you are.
Right.
You don't win,
Yep.
nor do you get kicked off. You're just on an island with
Yep.
coconuts running around. Like
a bunch of Wilsons.
Sometimes, yeah. Wilson! That's a sad part of the movie.
Oh, sorry. Anyway, so we hope that you have had some laughter and we hope that you are understanding and feeling like you are totally not alone in the times that you feel like you are in a pressure cooker.
Yeah. And you got another half hour? Just go on over to the next episode and see where we're at now. Is this office supply crushing us? Is the furniture even going? What's going on with the websites? Are you still going door to door, old man? Well, you're going to have to go to the next episode and see.
Thank you so much for listening. We know that we all get busy trying to do life, and our hope is that we can find ways to implement time and space to create a life we love living every day on our terms, right in the middle of all the messes of life.
We hope that you've been inspired and our conversation has helped you in some way, and it would be so amazing if you shared this conversation with somebody that you think would really benefit from hearing it. You can text someone the link, or you can share it via email or on your social media pages. And please, we would love for you to leave us a review on whatever platform you are listening on, because it helps us so much. The more reviews we have, the more people that will find our show, and our ultimate goal is for everyone to feel inspired, to find ways to create their own success right in the middle of all the mess. And no, they are not alone in doing so.
And finally, we'd love for you to join our weekly email list so that we can connect on a deeper level and you can always be in the know of our new release events and opportunities.